GT America, powered by AWS, heads to Virginia International Raceway for its 9th and 10th rounds of the season. After a heavy downpour shortened race one of the weekend to a rapid sprint, the skies have cleared for the second race of the weekend, the storm leaving cooler weather in its wake. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Calvin Fish. Amanda Busick is in the pit lane. Ash Vandelay with the Twitch watch along here this weekend. And as we get ready for this second race of the GT America, powered by AWS series, some dramas yesterday and a new winner here at Virginia International Raceway. Justin Rothberg taking the victory. Have a look at the weather here. It is clear skies as far as the rain, but it is still foggy and very, very humid out there. 92% relative humidity here, and very light breeze here on the first of our two pace laps here as we get set for rolling through the grid here in just a moment's time. Again, this is our two-category series, the SRO 3 category and GT4. And Calvin Fish alongside me. Calvin, welcome. There was some drama yesterday, but this is going to be setting us up for our second race of the weekend.
Yeah, it was a great race yesterday. Obviously a little bit of argy-bargy there that determined the winner, but certainly a lot of fun to watch. And the racetrack should be in great shape this morning. We had a lot of rain over the last 48 hours or so, but I think the track should be in good shape. Some cars have had to be repaired, so be curious to see how they can perform with this new race start here this morning.
And we'll also check in with Amanda Busick, who's down in the pit lane. Hey, Amanda.
Hey guys, here's race one of day two of racing from Virginia International Raceway, and this GT America crowd is ready to get after it. Kyle, you mentioned the drama yesterday. We had a compressed race due to the rain that was coming off pretty how, but when you look back at the action yesterday and what is happening today, Johnny O'Connell is about 2 points out of the lead of the championship hunt, and he's chasing down Jason Dasklos, who's going to start from the rear of that GT3 field. I was talking to Sheldon Miller, his crew guy, this morning about just the effort that it took getting that car, that Mercedes, back to track ready here today. Guys, I took a walk around the Mercedes. You can't even see any damage, but it was heavily body damage from an ABS failure yesterday. But Jason ready to go forward, and it'll be a great day of racing, guys.
Very excited for it. And yeah, the dramas yesterday with that compressed race was all very excited, but let's have a look here in a moment at the starting lineup for this race. And of course, it'll be Johnny O'Connell with that number 3 who is supposed to start up there on the front row. It'll be Jason Bell alongside in the number 2 Aston Martin. Justin Rothberg, yesterday's winner in the SRO 3 class, starts in 3rd with Ross West alongside. Kyle Washington starts in 5th in SRO 3 alongside Elias Sabo and his Aston Martin. Jean-Frédéric Leberge in his first weekend of the season alongside Tim Savage in the 007 and Jason Daskalos there at the rear of the field. In GT4, Isaac Sherman in the number 098 rolls off on the front row alongside yesterday's winner Kurt Swearingen, then Demir Hott in the 05, and Gray Newell make the second row of GT4. Nicholas Shanny starts in 5th place in GT4 alongside Todd Perriott, and then it's Joseph Catania bringing up the rear of the field in the number 33. That's your starting lineup here for GT America, powered by AWS Race 2 there, Calvin. There's a little smoke out of the 50. Was that just getting brakes heated up?
Yeah, possibly, maybe a little lock up there. These cars do have ABS brakes, so it's hard to achieve that, but certainly the tires are not really in their sweet spot yet. In GT America, unlike Fanatec GT, you cannot run tire warmers, so these cars and the tires have to be developed on this formation lap.
And yesterday we saw the 27 car have a whole bunch of dramas as the championship leader. Let's have a look at what happened to the 27 yesterday with that ABS failure. And here's a look, and Calvin, this is in wet conditions, but just the car just goes straight off here at turn 11.
Yeah, turn 11, this is on the opening lap, or kind of when we first got back to green racing after a delayed start there, and nothing that he could do at that point. You're just a passenger. Fortunately, no chassis damage. The car is on the grid this morning.
Well, the Toyota GR Supra safety car has lights out and is heading for home. Down in the pit lane is Johnny O'Connell in that Ski Autosports Audi R8 LMS. Lines up on that front row here towards that VP acceleration zone. The SRO 3 category GT3 machines ready to make some thunder here at Virginia International Raceway. Here we go for race 2. GT America, powered by AWS. Championship battles on the line here at SRO 3. Green flag into the VP acceleration zone, and we're racing once again at Virginia International Raceway.
Beautifully controlled start there by our pole sitter. Justin Rothberg looks down at the inside. Nowhere to go with that Turner Motorsport number 29. That's the black and blue car on the inside. Jason Bell on the outside from the front row.
In GT4, green flag for the GT4 crew, and it's Isaac Sherman with a nice jump there on Kurt Swearingen. Swearingen was able to defeat Sherman yesterday, but into the braking zone here, Calvin. Nice tight field.
It really is. Everyone just trying to funnel through here. Tires aren't totally into their sweet spot in terms of tire temperature and grip. There's pretty cool conditions here from what we're seeing all week long. So only in the mid-70s right now. Ambient track temp will rise as we get through the morning. A little twitch there by Gray Newell as he goes into turn 3.
And Demir Hott trying to set him up for a pass here into left hook later on the brakes in that Nissan Z. I think he was able to get alongside him for a moment, but now they've single filed back out as Sherman tries to put distance on them, Calvin.
Rothberg has gotten around Jason Bell here through the opening few corners, starting to put the pressure on our leader, Johnny O'Connell, coming off that brilliant victory yesterday. Justin Rothberg, great battle with Johnny O that went right down to the wire. A little bit of a bump and run, but Stewart saw nothing wrong with it, just a racing incident, and Justin kept the win.
Jason Dasklos already up to 6th place, passed a handful of cars in the opening sector or two and up this Madison Avenue straightaway. Drag racing that 32 GMG car, Calvin, and he's through.
He is, and he's in damage limitation right now because he's only got a 2-point lead in this championship by finishing 9th yesterday. Johnny O'Connell recovered from that spin to finish on the podium, so Daskalos has to make some moves here. He's only got a 2-point lead right now, and he's got Johnny O leading this race.
Down the roller coaster here and into turn 17, and here's the championship standings as they are here in SRO 3. Johnny O'Connell over Jason Dasklos, and that incident yesterday for the 27, Calvin, that swung things around, but Dasklos is charging forward and Johnny O'Connell's on defense on the front straightaway.
He is, and that's as they stand. If they finish where they run right now, that would be the points totals. He came into this race this morning with a 2-point lead. Dasklos did. You can see the point swing where he runs right now despite a pretty good start. Rothberg's car looks hooked up once again. He's had great performance here this weekend.
Yeah, he's really on the offensive here. Is that 29 of Justin Rothberg chasing the Ski Autosports Audi. Johnny O'Connell had a shot at winning yesterday and, well, didn't get it done here because that left hook, there was some contact and there was no fault there. Carried on, and he's going to try to do better here today.
Yeah, Johnny O'Connell, I thought I heard some tire screech there. That's Labarge has had a little bit of a spin there on the entry at turn 3, I believe it is. I'm not sure if he was bumped there. It's a really tricky brake zone.
Yeah, now he's trying to get the car refired here as the GT4 field streaks through. And as we noticed yesterday, even when the racetrack was dry, off-track was very treacherous, so at least the car stayed on the pavement and didn't go for a ride in the off-track where it's very swampy out there.
It really is, and it's just really the trajectory that you leave the road, you continue on, and hopefully you miss anything. Here we see Dasklos really putting the pressure on Schwest here, trying to make some moves, dig a little bit deeper into that top 5.
Yeah, he's really aggressive at the moment, up to 5th place is Jason Dasklos in the CRP racing car, trying to rekindle some of the magic that he's had earlier in the season, especially at places like Long Beach where he won in a big way. But O'Connell putting a bit of a gap there on Justin Rothberg, despite Rothberg going quicker last time by. And let's check in with Amanda Busick and Justin Rothberg, who was the winner yesterday. Amanda?
Yeah, and this car we'll see later in the GT World Challenge race. I was talking to Turner Motorsports on how they advised Justin to race this BMW today. Well, his dad said the word safe, and Will Turner said this thing is in a bubble. But when you think of a driver, obviously you want to compete. You want to go after that win. Calvin, how hard is it to restrict yourself knowing that you need this machinery later today as well?
Well, you can have a game plan going in, Amanda, but certainly when you get back behind the wheel and you can see you may be able to sweep the weekend, if there's an opportunity there to get around Johnny O'Connell, you got to feel he's going to go for it. But big consequences if he damages that race car. He and Robbie Foley won't see action this afternoon's Fanatec GT race, so he's got to really think about that big picture. Dasklos down to the inside into left hook. Can he pull the knockout blow? Yes, he does.
That was awesome. And deep lunge into left hook and completed the pass by the time they get to Snake. You have to be single file through here. There's really not enough room for 2 cars side by side unless both are compromising.
Yeah, and I think Schwest could read the situation there. He could recognize that Dasklos may have a little bit more pace. Just follow him through, hopefully. Now they chased after Jason Bell, trying to get into those podium positions.
Yeah, Jason Bell did a nice job yesterday in that number 2. Of course, it was a pretty chaotic race. We got a late start because of a deluge from the skies yesterday. So he did a nice job and had a decent result there. But this battle for 3rd is excellent between the 2 and the 27 in Dasklos.
Yeah, Bell had a really nice run yesterday. First podium of the year. Oh, that's Carl Washington off and on through Oak Tree. But yeah, getting back to Jason Bell, he got his car late, so he's been on the back for all season long. I think this midsummer break of a couple of months has really given he and that Flying Lizard team, who celebrate their 20th anniversary this year, to really get to grips with this Aston Martin. And I think he's getting more and more confidence. To have that result in tricky conditions yesterday will give him a big boost.
On defense now is the 27 at Askelos, chases him down through roller coaster, another high commitment area here, leading into Hog Pen and onto this long front straightaway.
See Jason just looking. He's got that intensity. You can see it in the way he's driving this race car. He always has that kind of aggressive nature, which I love. Such a nice guy, but you put him behind the wheel of a race car, he wants to go to the front.
And he is moving right now, just ran a personal best lap. You see the 2 on defense down there into turn 1. Try to keep or dissuade the 27 from making a move, but a little bit of a tighter line there through Horseshoe.
Yeah, you can really just work different lines through there to just really feel the grip. This is a tough one. If he tries to go to the inside there, you're typically going to have contact and send your competitor for a ride. But up front, Rothberg just laid down the fastest lap of this race, and he's close to within 0.3 of Johnny O'Connell for the lead.
They've traded that in the last 3 laps around, so it's just real blow for blow there at the front of the field. But this battle for third between Bell, Daskelos, and Ross Schwest, this is getting great. And Daskelos flashing the headlights, trying to distract and dissuade Bell from staying out in front there.
Yeah, he's trying to put him off his game, but Jason coming off a GT4 championship last year. A lot of success, 13 podiums, a couple of wins on his way to that title, but this is a different level, but he's getting more and more at home with this higher downforce, bigger horsepower race car.
Higher downforce, more commitment. Just got to drive harder in some places. The car will actually respond better when you're carrying more speed through the corner, but Askelos gets a great run, leaving Oak Tree and they're side by side up Madison Avenue.
Yeah, I think Jason recognized he didn't get a good clean exit out of Oak Tree. I think he went to the right to try and sort of like protect his line, but Daskelos is already alongside him. Now Jason's back into his draft. Daskelos going to sweep across the nose. Now Schwest is putting Bell under pressure for what will be now P4. Jason
Bell tucks in line behind the 27, right ahead of Ross Schwest, trying to stay at least ahead of the 50 Mercedes AMG, and already Daskelos has put 5-10 car lengths on them down through roller coaster.
Sheldon liked that move, sitting alongside Nick Short there on the pit box. Meanwhile, Rothberg keeping the pressure on Johnny O.
Let's see across the line this time, and Justin Rothberg again ran the best lap of the race, late on the brakes into turn 1, trying this outside line to over-under O'Connell, but this is a challenging corner. It's long, Calvin, but over-under is tricky to do.
It really is, but I think he may have like a 32-minute lesson here in racecraft by Johnny O, because Johnny O is not going to let this win get away from him. They've only scored 1 victory this year. The podium yesterday gave him, I think, 8 on the season. And with that position he has in the race right now, the championship lead as they run.
2 very different cars, the mid-engined Audi versus the front mid-engine BMW. That engine is pretty far back in the front of the car. Of course, similar story here between the 2 front-engined Aston Martin Vantage AMRs and the Mercedes AMG of Ross Schwest. But there's that lead battle climbing the S's.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful part of this racetrack. You just wind up through the gears here, flat out all the way through if the car's got a good setup on it, all the way to turn 10. Then you flick it down a gear right here through this one. You set up on the right-hand side of the road to give you the arc and the radius through here. Then it really slows down. You can't overcharge this corner. Hard to really discipline yourself to really woe things down. But up front in GT4, Sherman has just taken off here.
Yeah, Sherman back on form. And it's been a phenomenal season for Isaac Sherman. Basically won every race until Circuit of the Americas and yesterday's race 1, where Kurt Swearingen was able to get another victory. So really, Swearingen has done a very nice job. They also had some success in Pirelli GT4 America yesterday, Calvin, so lots of momentum for them coming into this race. There's Gray Newell running P3 in class right now, hunting down that 7.
Yeah, Harder Racing, boy, did they have a massive operation going on. They just did their first test miles with the new hypercar, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, that they're going to campaign next year, both here in North America and in the World Endurance Championship. So Ian James is here this weekend. He celebrates his birthday tomorrow, so he's looking for another podium run for Gray here as he's in here in support of all of his cars that are running here this weekend. They have a busy, busy day.
Justin Rothberg applying more pressure to the back of Johnny O'Connell's Ski Autosports Audi. About a car length between them.
Talking to Johnny O earlier in this weekend, they really were struggling to get a balance with this Audi. Says the first racetrack we've been to we've really been on the back foot, but he's got the track position, which is key, so he's just got to really be disciplined here, not make the error, because Justin Rothberg is right there, potentially going to pounce.
Let's head down for an update from Amanda down on the pit lane.
Yeah, Yeah, wow, how fun it is to watch this back and forth between Johnny O'Connell and Justin Rothberg. I remember talking to Johnny O'Connell at COTA, and he said there's 5 different guys that can win in this class, including the kid, when he was talking about Justin Rothberg as he got that done yesterday. But you'll remember there was a little incident between Johnny O'Connell and Justin Rothberg towards the end of the race yesterday. It was ruled a racing incident by race control. Johnny O'Connell had different thoughts on that. So is he racing more defensively today, guys?
Well, I think he wants to win. I think talking to the team last night, we bumped into them at dinner, and Rosella Manfrenato, who's the engineer who we saw just on the pit wall there a moment ago, said, you know, we looked at the onboard, and I think Johnny thought he'd cleared Justin, and Justin was up over the curbs there, so there's nowhere further left for Justin to go to avoid that contact, unfortunately, and the steward saw it the same way. So when you're leading the race and you get bumped out, Carl, you certainly think you were hard done by, but I think that Johnny's got enough experience to put that behind. I don't think there'll be any ill feeling, Amanda, in terms of the way he'll race here today.
Yeah, usually there's somewhere between one driver's opinion and the other, and the stewards generally land in the middle of it, right? But Jason Daskalos, by the way, just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 1:48.5 and is 3.8 seconds behind Justin Rothberg, and that was the second lap in a row, Calvin, that he's run the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and if he runs that pace and the amount of time we got left on the board, he will catch these leaders. So I think maybe Johnny O is sort of like being disciplined with his lines. He's not maybe executing the perfect lap. Justin, I think, has got a little bit more pace, but their concern is with that delta on the last lap, Daskalos was 0.8 quicker, and he's 3.8 seconds behind. So in about 5 laps with that same delta, he'll be right with them.
Well, and will this create some more pressure for Justin Rothberg to get this pass done on Johnny O'Connell?
For sure. The team will be talking him through this scenario. In a moment, he'll see that car in his rear-facing camera or his rear-view mirror, and he'll know that the pressure is on a little bit. And then he's dealing with that dynamic, like Amanda talked about, that car has to survive and be in good shape for this afternoon's Fanatec GT event.
3-horse race back here for 4th place as well in SRO 3. Jason Bell, Ross West, Kyle Washington. And a little great scrap here between 3 different manufacturers. This is the beauty of GT racing, Cal.
What's cool is to see the ladder system. Now we see Shani and Parriott down into turn 1. Nice move there by Nick. Takes that position, but getting back to the Bell and Schwest scenario, they duked out for so long in GT4. It's great to see them step up now and sort of a cut and paste scenario, running nose to tail.
Yeah, really cool to see both of them stepping up into the GT3 machinery and continuing to battle. This is a fantastic fight between Shani and Parriott here. BMW versus Aston Martin, and a little side-by-side through Snake for a moment, but Parriott has to tuck in behind.
Yeah, they're having fun, just learning their racecraft, both of them relatively early in their driving careers. But here we go, Johnny O feeling the heat. Rothberg, a big run down the front stretch. Johnny O just protecting that inside line, not opening the door. And all of this is just compromising lap time and going to allow Daskalos to get a little bit close. However, on that last lap, he only trimmed about 0.3 out of the lead. So O'Connell's trying to minimize the damage, but there's a battle everywhere right now.
P4 under fire. Jason Bell, Ross West, Kyle Washington, 4, 5, and 6. What a great fight between these 3 cars. And great offensive driving there by the 50 and great defense by the 2. And it's so challenging to get overlap. There's only a couple really good opportunities here at VR, Cal. Otherwise, you have to force it, and it can be a bit sketchy in some of these higher speed sections.
It really can. You've really just got to really feel the moment and just slide it down. It's not like an on-off switch in terms of making the pass. It takes a long time to really manifest itself. Kyle Washington's done a really nice job. Really impressed with his driving this year. He's really calmed things down. He's got great speed. He's not making those little tiny errors that was costing him some positions in the last couple of years, and really doing a solid job here.
And an emotional win for them yesterday in the Fanatec GT race as well. So they coming off of a high there and jumping back in the GT America powered by AWS car this morning and taking that there. And there's the 007 of Tim Savage off to the side. And this is over by Snake, I believe, Calvin.
Yeah, it is. I think it's coming out of turn 5, possibly. There we see the lodge in the backdrop. Beautiful facility here at VIR. We're lucky enough to stay here on site this weekend, which is a real treat, just to jump in your car and 30 seconds later we're sitting in the TV booth. But meanwhile, up front, safety car is out.
Full course yellow for the 007 of Tim Savage. And the GR Super safety car will jump on the racetrack and collect Johnny O'Connell and Justin Rothberg, and now Jason Daskalos. That 3.5-second gap is now completely erased.
Yeah, not what Johnny O'Connell was wanting. He's got a little reprieve here, just reset. Talked about the cooler conditions, but the tires were probably starting to get into that mode where they're starting to slip and slide a little bit more than the initial start. So Johnny's got to really think this through, and he did not want to see that Mercedes there, the number 27, and Jason Daskalos, who's the championship leader, coming into the start of this race. Right now, I think Johnny O would have about an 8-point lead over him as they run, but nonetheless, Daskalos is inching ever closer to the front. Brilliant run.
Yeah, Race Vision powered by AWS showing us that the top 3 are, as far as their fastest laps are concerned, are in reverse order on the racetrack. So this is going to be real fun when we get this restart.
That's and there's ideal for us, right?
Yeah, well, it's still 20-something minutes to go, right? So we still got about half the event left, and we get this restart in that VP acceleration zone. Calvin, how is Jason Daskalos going to set this up? How aggressive should he be with so much time left on the board?
He's going to be aggressive. That's the way he runs. We see it on opening laps. He always gets his elbows out. He's wanting to get to the front. He's thinking of that big picture. He's had a lot of wins this year. 4 wins on the season, so he's kind of ticked that box many times. Now it's all about the championship, and he recognized that Johnny O is going to be his biggest competitor, but they can't not think about Justin Rothberg. If he starts to put together a run here, I mean, Justin's really got some good points on the boards right now and is going to close in if he continues to score victories, and he's going to have a lot of confidence after that win here yesterday.
Isaac Sherman leading in GT4 over Kurt Swearingen, and similarly on this restart, I think that 7's going to have to be aggressive to get ahead of Isaac Sherman. He did a great job in defense yesterday, so if he can get around that Rotec Racing Porsche, he might stand a better chance of holding him off.
Yeah, I mean, Sherman's in a bit of a drought, isn't he? He won 7 on the bounce, and then he's not seen victory lane for the last 2 races with Swearingen stepping up.
Let's look at our Race Vision powered by AWS for the GT4 category. Isaac Sherman and Demir Holt first and second, and then Kurt Swearingen in third, the Gray Newell and Todd Perriott. But Demir with a pretty solid lap, and he's going to restart in 4th in line if things stay as they are. Maybe he'll have a shot at getting back up on the podium.
Yeah, no, it's I love this championship. I mean, it never disappoints. There's always great battles in both classes.
So behind the GR Super safety car down the back straightaway, keeping some tire temperature in for Johnny O'Connell. Jason Daskalos certainly getting prepared. This should be a fairly quick full course yellow. He should get a lot of time left, I imagine, and once they extract the 007 over there from turn 5. And when we restart, I think Johnny O'Connell will have to be looking in his mirror as much as he is in the windshield.
Absolutely, and for the Turner Motorsports Group, they're thinking, okay, we've got a very aggressive driver behind us now. This car has to be nice and clean and tidy. The checkered flag to run this afternoon, so a lot of pressure for Justin.
Yeah, we did see Tim Savage get out of that Aston Martin Vantage AMR, so that's great to see, but the car was not able to move under its own power from where it was sitting. And let's check in with Amanda with more on Johnny O'Connell.
Yeah, just prior to this full course yellow, I was over by the Ski Autosports team, and all of a sudden the team just kind of let out a little laughter, and I was like, oh, what happened? They were trying to tell Johnny O'Connell his split times during the intensity of that battle, and he responded to the team, shut up!
It's a motor race, isn't it, Cal?
Kimi Räikkönen. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
Do you have the drink? Pull those belts tight. I mean, this has been a great fight so far. As it stands here in SRO 3, this is your championship running order, and the Daskalos moving forward up to 161 points behind Johnny O'Connell, but a 7-point swing from first to second, and it's even greater from first to third.
Yeah, and look at Rothberg. I mean, he's really getting closer to these leaders, and if he can jump ahead of Johnny O, that would knock 7 off Johnny's total, give 7 to Rothberg, so it could really tighten things up.
This is going to be a fun battle here on this restart, I imagine. And there's the 007 on the hook, heading back to the paddock. And lights are out on the Toyota GR Super Safety Car, Calvin. So that means next time by, we get to restart. And I think the battle is going to resume in a big way. And so Jason Daskalos, we know he's going to be aggressive. We've seen that so far. What about Justin Rothberg? Young driver, had a win yesterday, feeling the confidence. What car is he focusing on, the 3 or the 27?
Well, he wants to win another race, but I think the thing he's got to be really careful of is Jason suddenly firing it down the inside. Smooth backdrop. I'm not sure if that was someone just trying to...
Oh, it looked like it was out of the 50, and we noted that on the pace laps before the race.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was from braking or what, but we saw it at Oak Tree on the first of the 2 pace laps.
Yeah, you tend to run when you try to generate tire temp, you can do it by running the brake up against the throttle, and you can kind of suddenly get a bit of a lockup if you're too aggressive with that, but it is a little bizarre to see that.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any issue with the 50, but it's been running up to speed so far, so I don't imagine it will impact him too much, but we'll keep our eyes on it here as we head down into Oak Tree for the last time behind the safety car under this sequence.
It's a great young team. I like what Aaron Povolato has put together here with Ross West in terms of the performance. And I think that smoke was coming from under the diffuser. I thought I saw a little bit there from under the center of the car, so maybe they got a little bit of a oil leak or something that suddenly we're seeing under slow running like we saw on the initial formation lap and getting ready to go here. But anyway, yeah, I like what they're doing. They're getting performance out of that car. They seem to be strong. There it is again. They're getting stronger and stronger, it seems, every single weekend. Led one of the practice sessions here on Friday, so that's a group that's moving forward as well.
Yeah, and they're also doing a nice job pulling double duty in the Fanatec GT World Challenge America powered by AWS series. They didn't get a lot of laps in that race yesterday, hoping that they can get things sorted this afternoon, but the Toyota GR Supra safety car is going to accelerate away and heading down into the VP acceleration zone. A late restart. You can accelerate anywhere here out of Hog Pen turn 17, but O'Connell holding the field back. Justin Rothberg, Jason Daskalo stacked up, and they're back underway under power, heading towards the green flag in the VP acceleration zone. Here we go, Calvin, towards turn 1.
Yeah, Johnny O just trying to get the Audi right in its sweet torque spot, and has left Jason Daskalo's a little bit delayed here. Rothberg's still right with Johnny O. Johnny O's taking that inside line. It seems every single lap just really tightening up through the first corner, then back to the power. Good news for Rothberg is he doesn't have Daskalo's all over him yet.
That was a great restart, actually, by Johnny O'Connell. Held everybody back and got a launch in a way that kept Daskalos from attacking Rothberg. And I think as long as Johnny can keep the 29 between himself and Daskalos, it'll give him a few more laps to run away.
Yeah, that'll be his intention. You know, with Johnny's experience, he's probably going to get up on the wheel a little bit quicker than Justin is, but Justin's really keeping him close. Daskalos look like he's struggling to get those tires back working again, getting the energy into those. You really have to prep those during those caution laps. Don't let the tires go to sleep.
Through the climbing S's, there's Jason Bell with the 50 of Ross West still tucked underneath the rear wing as they head down towards Oak Tree. And this battle resuming just like the lead one is, but all the gaps are a bit closer now.
Sabo's right there as well, running in 7th position. With the Flying Lizard entry right there, the 511 machine exiting Oak Tree.
Perhaps he can pick up the pieces of any of these other fights, especially if they get elbows out here towards the end. Ross West fairly close to the 2 of Jason Bell up Madison Avenue.
Again, we see Daskalos is not closing in on these leaders, so I think he just may have not prepped the tires, and he's struggling to get those where they need to be. But lots of time still left on the board, 16 minutes plus to go.
Noticing just the way that hood, we mentioned that there was some damage to that car yesterday that was repaired, but it seems like the edges of it are kind of lifting a bit. Wonder if that's causing any kind of aerodynamic issue, Calvin?
It can create a little bit of drag down the straightaway, certainly, if it's not nice and clean. There we see Schwest's car in the draft there, kind of lifting. Here comes Rothberg to the inside. He's got that inside line, but it's dirty down there. He can't be as late on the brakes. Johnny O just takes it in a little bit deeper, more on the rubber of the normal racing line, so Rothberg is feeling it. He wants to win. He's not just consolidating this podium.
O'Connell was all the way driver's right on defense there from Justin Rothberg, and the 29 on the attack, but that's going to let the 27 close in as well. It's back to a 3-horse race for first place.
It is. Justin must have got a really good run out of Hog Pen to get that draft down the front straightaway and inch to the inside before Johnny O could kind of deploy his normal line there on the inside. Opened up the door, but not enough. Johnny O wants this win. Even though it could be a big day in this championship season.
Has Rothberg been studying this number 3? It seemed like turn 1 has been his attack zone. Perhaps O'Connell struggling with Hog Pen.
Well, I think the BMW is a little bit quicker than the Audi down the straightaway, so it's all about getting that exit and getting into that position. And there's a limit to what you can do. It's a pretty wide racetrack on the approach to turn 1, but Daskalo's got his car fired up once again. Here we go. This is going to be fun.
Right out using every inch of the road, the bit of runoff that exists at the exit of Oak Tree. It is a 3-player game at the front of the field in SRO 3. Speeds climbing about 160 miles an hour up Madison Avenue, and Ross West has dispatched Jason Bell, it looks like, in the background as well. So that 2
Bell
cars
has dropped down the order.
Heard some tire squeal over by turn 5, but Don't know exactly what has happened to the two, but O'Connell has about 6-7 car lengths over Justin Rothberg here as we come down 15 minutes to go on the clock.
His car looks nice and neat and tidy through there. Good clean exit. Justin's going to get a run. He'll close in on him, but I think Johnny will immediately, once you get through this little bend in the straightaway, he's got to keep it right. Otherwise, he's going to open up that door, go underneath the starter stand and look at Johnny O, right-hand side of the road.
Justin Rothberg late on the brakes again, this time driver's left. Closes it within a car length of this 3 car, but he needed a bit more to get full overlap there, and that's a hard move on the outside of turn 1, Calvin.
Well, you can brake later because Johnny O, by being defensive, he doesn't have the rubber on that line, whereas Justin does, so he can brake really deep on the normal racing line. That's why he looks like he's out braking Johnny O, but Johnny O's just trying to deal with less grip on that inside, but protect.
Johnny is a busy man inside that car right now. This is, you know, you can really tell by the body language of the cars how aggressive everyone is being behind the wheel, and Johnny absolutely is keeping track of where that 29 is at each point on the racetrack, because you have to go defensive before they make a move on you, Calvin, otherwise you'll be called for blocking.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be proactive with that move. You can't react to the driver behind you, so Johnny O calls him the kid, but Rothberg is not kidding around. He really wants this win. I mean, he'd love to follow up. And he's done a nice job. We've seen him really impressive, even in the early rounds where he maybe didn't have this sort of pace. He'd be in battles, in racing situations, just showcase tremendous poise and calmness in those type of situations. He doesn't seem to succumb to the pressure.
These 3 are in their own zip code today, up all the way up Madison Avenue, heading towards roller coaster, into the braking zone again. And honestly, I thought Jason Daskalos would have been putting a bit more pressure on Rothberg by this point, but it appears like it's ebbing and flowing which car the 29 is actually fighting with.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jason's car is just not as strong, a little bit deeper into this run here. I mean, the BMW's been really quick. Talking to Robbie Foley this weekend, he said, I think Justin's even more comfortable in this car, the GT America car, than what was the Fanatec GT car, and that could be good news this afternoon, even though they'll lose their grid spot to start tomorrow's race. Here he comes, though. More middle of the road there for Johnny O'Connell. Going to be a risky move down to the inside for Rothberg. And then you got so much steering input as you're finishing off your braking, you can suddenly activate that ABS and just wash out wide. So you've got to be careful with that. It can help you, but can also hurt you in racing dynamics like that.
In GT4, Isaac Sherman continues to pull away from Kurt Swearingen, trying to get back on top in victory lane after, again, he's lost 2 races in a row, Calvin. You can't have that after the season he's had.
What's going on?
Got to right the ship, so to speak, but he's had a phenomenal season so far, and his pace has just been unbelievable. I think that really shows how impressive Kurt Swearingen was yesterday to defeat the 098 of Isaac Sherman, how challenging it has been to get on top of the board in GT4.
There's his mentor there, Rob Holland, watching on proudly, I'm sure. Just what a revelation. I think it was Jason Daskalos who actually introduced Isaac Sherman to Rob, said you need to give this this man a try. They tested him and it all worked out, and they put a season together, and just remarkable. He's really been one of the big stories in our paddock this season.
They've got a great relationship as well, and so much of the success comes from great communication between driver and coach and team owner and driver, and I think they've got that. I don't think that's always the case too, Calvin, so I think they've got a relationship that's going to go a long ways here. It's the 27 of Jason Daskalos. Again, on that restart, kind of got left behind, but he's not letting them get away either.
No, they're very evenly matched here. I think on outright pace at this stage of the race, I think maybe Rothberg has a tiny bit more, but not much to choose between them. The other thing is when you're running in the wake of the car in front of you, that can work on the tires a little bit. Typically, you're taking the air off the front of the nose, off the nose of the car, should I say, and that can work the front tires a little bit more, so you got to be careful. Don't want to grind those and start to overheat them and lose the balance a little bit.
We talked about tire degradation and how this racetrack can chew some of these Pirellis up, but let's have a look at the circuit performance. And it seems like the 29 of Justin Rothberg is best in sectors 2 and 3, but Jason Daskalos quicker in that handling section, sector 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's twists and turns everywhere around this racetrack, so I don't think there's much. I'd love to see what the delta is between all 3 of them. I'm sure it's just a few hundredths of a second, but we didn't see Johnny O on that graphic, but he has the lead still.
Track position's everything. That's what the points pay at the end of the day, right? So even if the 29 and 27 are quicker, it won't matter much if they can't get around them. And they've been trying. They've been trying to find a chink in the armor here, but I think Rothberg in the last 10 minutes is going to have to find another arrow in the quiver if he wants to have a shot at Johnny O'Connell.
Yeah, he's just looking super calm. Car looks planted. They got a good car underneath them. They tested here a few weeks ago in preparation for this event. Many of these drivers have not seen any action in this 2-month break that we've had since Circuit of the Americas, but Justin was out testing about a month ago, so that helped him learn this circuit. This is the first time he's raced here, but he did get some track time in that test. Closes in on Johnny O there, just a little bit wider approach, more straight line, allows you to take it a little bit deeper. Whenever you've got any steering input, that takes away a little bit of the braking ability. The tire can only do so much.
So with under 10 minutes to go, Johnny O'Connell's defense has been fantastic so far. But will Rothberger-Daskalos turn up the heat in this final few laps of the race here at Virginia International Raceway for GT America, powered by AWS? Rothberg with a good run here to driver's left. He's going to take a look to driver's right, Calvin, but not close enough to take a swing at it this time.
Now, tried to surprise Johnny O. Johnny O would have been watching that, and sometimes when you're doing that, you can just miss that braking point. That can be critical, but Johnny, nice and calm, kept it together. I think he trusts Justin as well, despite the little rub that they had here in this upcoming corner. Right here's where they got together yesterday when Johnny O tried to sweep around the outside. There wasn't enough room and he got bumped and spun around. But I think he recognized that Justin will run him clean.
You talked about the experience that Johnny O has, and you know, Justin Rothberg is a relatively young driver, but it seems like as drivers, you know, work up in their career, they take fewer and fewer risks sometimes. So how do you equate these two as far as the very experienced driver out in the front and the aggressive younger driver in second? How is that going to play in the final 8 minutes?
Well, I think, as I said, I don't think Justin's one of those drivers who's going to make a rash move. I think he's very disciplined, very poised in his approach in terms of defense and how he goes on the attack to try and make a move. But Daskalos gets a good run there, just to use a lot more road there. He's going to have a run here, but you can see that BMW inches away a little bit. But I think they have, you know, I don't see anything rash happening. I think if Daskalos can get a little bit closer, he's the type of personality and the way he drives, he's going to like force the issue a little bit. Not be dirty, but he's going to get down to the inside and try and make something happen. I think Justin's more of a, tries to plan it out and plot it rather than do, you know, an aggressive, sudden move.
It's probably also challenging to try something that Johnny O hasn't seen before as well. So you're not going to...
I'm not sure if there's anything Johnny O hasn't seen. Maybe not in the race today, but yeah.
Yeah, over the course of his career and all the different cars and series he's driven, I think he's seen a thing or two, and
yeah,
no amount of flashing headlights or switching lanes is going to dissuade him.
Now, I think he feels that he's got this one under control, but he's still got to watch out. You know, just the slightest little blip in terms of exiting a corner can suddenly change the whole dynamic in terms of Justin being able to make something happen.
It's also great to see 3 different manufacturers battling in the top 3 here as well. The Audi R8, the mid-engine platform, the BMW M4, and of course that Mercedes AMG. All 1, 2, 3. Great drivers could choose the tool that they want to use to fight, and I think it's great to see 3 different cars entirely battling up front.
Yeah, it's so cool to see this championship offer guys. We saw Memo Gidley in past season, Johnny O now kind of rekindle what's already been a brilliant racing career, such a resume, so many accolades and titles and big race wins, but they just have that passion. They want to be a racer. I mean, I competed against Johnny O back in the Atlantic days. That's back in the late 80s, and he's still out there making it happen and winning races and fighting for a championship. Really cool to see.
It's still winning races, as you mentioned, and he's got another one on his radar in the next 6 minutes and 20 seconds. And honestly, the pressure has seemed to sort of dissipate the last few minutes. And see if Rothberg is gearing up, maybe cooling the Pirellis down for another shot at this here.
Yeah, it does seem to have been since the restart. It's been a lot calmer. I think right before we got that caution, with Tim unfortunately having that moment and having to get the Aston Martin recovered, it doesn't seem to have the same intensity. So I think Johnny O may have dialed his car in a little bit different, worked through the tools, communicated with the team. And, this is where he's vulnerable at the end of this straightaway, but he just watches. He'll have a gauge on how close is he. He'll kind of recognize if he's any closer than the previous lap. Take that inside line a little bit more aggressively. You can see here, look, the gap is bigger, so he's out on the racing line. Can arc into the corner, he can brake a little bit deeper. And if he can suddenly do that, maybe he can inch away, start to run the normal racing line, not compromise his lap time.
So if you're Justin Rothberg and chasing a guy like Johnny O'Connell who's got so much experience, what can you learn right now, and how are you trying to close this gap? What are you looking for in Johnny?
Well, I think he's looking for an opportunity, but I think at the same time, like we said earlier, this could be a 30-odd minute sort of lesson in racecraft, and I think he's seeing that from Johnny O. He's been close, he's made a couple of moves, looked down at the inside, and Johnny has been resilient to that. So it's all part of the learning process for a young driver, and it's great that he's having this opportunity. So you got this blend, right? You got young drivers coming up trying to learn, and then we talked about the Mimo Gidleys of the world, the Johnny O's. They've got so much experience to try and teach these young drivers how to go about and execute a race.
Back in GT4, Isaac Sherman's lead has dwindled a little bit the last few laps. Kurt Swearingen has closed into about 1.4 seconds behind, so I think there's still opportunity for Kurt to close this gap, although he's running out of laps to do it, Cal.
Yeah, time is not on his side, but certainly late in the going, it seems like Swearingen's car has come alive a little bit and kind of equalized the difference in performance. I mean, Sherman looked like to be in a league of his own here today, taking off with a big gap. I didn't expect to see that. I thought Swearingen would run right with him, but right now they're running very similar pace.
We'll see if Kurt can close the gap even more, because I think if you can get close enough to be a distraction, I think you can kind of accelerate that gap coming down. But there's also a stage when you get close enough. They always say, you know, getting there's one thing, passing's another. So also Demir Hott in the Flying Lizard Motorsports Nissan up to 3rd place, past Gray Newell, and looking for another podium. Yeah,
this Nissan is looking really strong. A lot of support from Nissan. Great to see some of the top teams like Flying Lizard. We've got Black Dog Speed Shop running this car in Pirelli GT4 America along with the Skip Barber organization. So they've got some really good prep teams campaigning this car, and it's really showcasing it's got a lot of potential. I see some race wins coming their way in a hurry.
And just behind, I think that was Gray Newell, still trying to track him back down. Demir was about a second slower than Gray last time by, so a mistake probably somewhere that allowed Gray to close in just a touch. And keeping our eyes on this number 7 to Kurt Swearingen. Here's points in GT4 as they stand. 236 points for Isaac Sherman. He has just picked him up and laid him down this season. And then as far as Kurt, 173. So it's a long way to go if you're to run Isaac down, but he chipped into him a bit yesterday.
He did. Last couple of wins have certainly swung the points back in the right direction at least, but yeah, it's a big swing, and I love the point structure in terms of the bigger gap between 1st and 2nd. It really is a 14-point swing if you make that move for a win versus finishing 2nd, because you drop 1 down 7 and you gain 7, so that's a big move in a championship.
And both of our categories, SRO3 and in GT4, 2nd place runners had their personal best laps last time around, and Justin Rothberg again closing the gap to Johnny O'Connell, about 2 car lengths.
Johnny up on the curb there a little bit. Looking at the time, I think they're probably going to get 2 more laps. Looks like they're going to get to the line before the white flag needs to be displayed. So this is good news for Rothberg, and it looked like Dascalos has dropped off a little bit. Not sure if he made a little mistake, but that gap is big, so Rothberg can just focus forward. That helps the cause for him.
2 minutes left on the clock, so we will not get the white flag this time. Justin Rothberg trying to break later and deeper on that racing line into turn 1 and try to set up O'Connell again for a pass into NASCAR bend.
Right there, you can see mid-corner by setting the corner up. He just gets much better rolling speed through the middle and apex of there.
It's the 33 of Joseph Catania chasing Todd Perriott in the 31. This is a battle down the order in GT4 for about sixth place. But let's check in with Amanda Busick on pit lane, who's got more on Joseph Catania.
Yeah, I was enjoying the conversation you guys were having about the GT America series just in general. I remember a couple years ago when we first started it, James Safronis saying how this will just be a perfect place to get these drivers experience. I was counting the drivers on track today, and about 10 of them are running in other series that we have going on here this weekend. And one of the cars that will also be doing that at a future race, you're looking at the 33 of Joseph Catania. That livery might be a little familiar. That is a Sam 10 car. This one raced at Long Beach, but that's another add to this GT America series. They get to race at some of the dream racetracks that some of the guys have wanted to since they were young kids. Long Beach being one of those guys.
Yeah, there's some great racetracks in North America, and we mentioned this is a Samantha Tan car that ran out there at Long Beach, which is sort of a home race for ST Racing in some ways. And yeah, I mean, this championship goes to some of the best circuits in North America, Cal.
It really does. It's really cool. And here we go. We should be seeing the white flag this time by for Johnny O. He's hung on to it. See, Dascalos is disappearing backwards. It's going to be a 10-point gain for Johnny in the championship and give him the lead. Even if he drops to second, he should still be the championship leader tonight, but he wants that second win on the season. He's got a nice gap here. Should be able to run the normal racing line down into turn 1.
One lap to go. At GT America, powered by AWS at VIR, it's Audi versus BMW, Johnny O'Connell versus Justin Rothberg, an experience versus newcomer. And this is going to be a fun last 3.2 miles as Justin tries to poke a hole in the defense.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here because Johnny Ho has just been in a perfect rhythm, recognize where he is vulnerable, and keep this nice and tidy. Just trying to bring it home. And they'll be really stoked. Yes, it could have been a sweep of the weekend without that little bump yesterday, but from where they were in the practice days, I think they'll be very happy with this points total they'll walk away with.
And Johnny O'Connell has been on the podium a handful of times this season, but most recently a winner at Sonoma Raceway all the way at the beginning of the season in April. So I'm sure he'd love to return to victory lane. Was neck and neck with Rothberg yesterday. He's closing in, Cal, down towards Oak Tree.
Yeah, a little bit of traffic up ahead as well, so I'm not sure whether they're going to get to Joseph Catania here. If they clear him on Madison Avenue, that'll be one thing, but if they come up on either one of these cars in front through the roller coaster, could that give the opportunity to Justin Rothberg? Joseph doing a nice job there, indicating just go to the right, guys. I'm going to clear the way for you. Johnny O may be okay. Just the timing of this traffic may work out okay for him.
Into roller coaster for the final time. Johnny O'Connell leading the way, gets the
little
curb
bump,
there.
Gets on the curb. That's a little mistake.
Here comes Justin Rothberg down the hill. Traffic ahead. Johnny O'Connell trying to return to victory lane in GT America, powered by AWS. Last corner for Justin Rothberg and Johnny O'Connell. If he can draft up here, Calvin, he'll have a shot at him. Checkered flag is waving. Johnny O'Connell is going to hang on by just enough and defeat Justin Rothberg by a car length across the line. Johnny O'Connell and Ski Autosports back in victory lane here in GT America.
They are pumped up there. Ski Autosports, second win on the year. Great drive by Johnny O. Great pressure by the kid, as he calls him, from behind. Big weekend here for Justin Rothberg.
And for Isaac Sherman, working his way down into Oak Tree for the final time. And again, he had won every race up until race 2 at Circuit of the Americas, and then second in race 2 there, second yesterday, and now up this long back straightaway. Kurt Swearingen, his attack in the late going wasn't enough to run him down.
Now, it's great to see them both kind of on pretty even performance now. I think for Isaac, it's really good that he gets back on the horse, so to speak, gets back onto that top step, consolidates that lead. You start to doubt yourself. It's like, wow, a couple of wins I've lost now. Does that threaten the championship? Still a long way to go. 3 more events, 6 more rounds after this one.
It has been an impressive season for Rotec Racing in the 098 of Isaac Sherman. A podium in every event so far, first in most of them. And he's going to add to that list here today. Isaac Sherman and Rotec Racing win GT4 in GT America, powered by AWS. Race 2 at VIR with Kurt Swearingen coming home in second. And it looks like Demir Hott in the Flying Lizard Motorsports Nissan Z will bring it home in third. Podium for them with Gray Newell right behind Calvin.
Yeah, nice podium for Gray. He enjoys this circuit. So, oh, actually, Gray was just off the podium. Excuse me, Demir. Got the final spot there, but solid top 5 for Heart of Racing.
Yeah, what a battle it was in both of our categories. Kurt really started to apply some pressure to Isaac there, but he wasn't close enough to force Isaac to really be looking in the rearview mirror. But as you said, getting right back up on that step, bring the confidence back.
I think Isaac's ready to go again. He's prepping the tires.
Well, when your car's running that good,
why not? Yeah.
Let's do another race,
Fuel
right?
it up.
Let's have a race 3. But Johnny O'Connell back to victory lane. We mentioned he's had a phenomenal season, a handful of podiums, and the points are going to shake out in a very positive way for him here this weekend as well. And let's have a look here at race results for GT America, powered by AWS Race 2. Johnny O'Connell and Ski Autosports at the top of the order in SRO 3. Justin Rothberg in second, with Jason Daskalos in third. Was never really able to apply all the pressure he needed to get on through, but still a podium after a rough day yesterday. Ross West, Kyle Washington, Elias Sabo, Jean-Frédéric Leberge, and Jason Bell rounding out the top 8 in SRO 3. Tim Savage, of course, we saw him out of the race with an incident at turn 5. Isaac Sherman back on top in GT4, then Kurt Swearingen, Demir Hott finishing out the podium in GT4 with Newell, Shanny, Perriott, and Catania wrapping up the rest of the order, Calvin.
Yeah, just a great weekend. I think we lost a little zip in the battle up front there after that restart. Unfortunately, it just settled down. I thought right before then that was getting really tasty with Jason thinking about trying to go further forward and get to the top step of the podium. Seemed like his car faded a little bit in the second half of that race, so maybe they started with slightly higher tire pressures and just peaked a little bit, but still a great rebound after the difficulties yesterday for that team.
Yeah, you wonder if Jason Dasklos would have rather just run down that 3.5-second gap himself, because he finished about 3.5 seconds behind. So again, he was making a lot more inroads prior to that full course yellow. But regardless, that was a great three-way battle, and if Johnny made any mistake at any point, Justin Rothberg was close enough to pounce. And after their contact yesterday, that was ruled a racing incident. Of course, you know, Justin and Johnny have a lot of respect for each other, and they've had to with how much and how close they've raced together this year.
Yeah, they really have. They've been together a lot, and just of note, Kyle Washington laid down his fastest lap of the race on the last lap, so he continues to impress, finishing there in the top 5 and only half a second off the fastest lap of the day.
Johnny O'Connell climbing out of his Audi R8 LMS GT3, and you see the fist pumps there. He's absolutely pumped after hanging on. He's probably tired. That was a lot of hard driving to hold back Justin Rothberg.
It is. He's hitting the gym hard. He recognized when he came back full time that it was not easy. These cars are pretty physical to drive. They get hot inside the cockpit. So he's been in the gym working hard to have this next phase of his career be successful.
It's been a hot one here this weekend as well, but phenomenal drive for Johnny O'Connell. And let's head down to talk to Johnny O'Connell with Amanda Busick down there in the celebration.
And a nice congratulations from SRO's Greg Gill and Johnny O'Connell taking in this moment. I saw you do a nice little pump on the top of that race car, taking in the intensity of this battle. Describe it, Johnny.
Well, first off, man, I'm going to be 62 next week. I got to thank God. That I can still do this. So, you know, I thought we were going to get one yesterday and really wanted this for the team. And, man, we push, we dig. And so, you know, I mean, this weekend's been a struggle getting this car right. We got it really good today. And so just grateful to everybody at Ski Autosport. And, man, now we got to get some more. You know, it's going to be a really tight battle, you know, with Jason and the other guys, and just really looking forward.
Well, this was a race when you're looking ahead to a potential championship this season, 62 years young. What does this mean to you?
Pretty. I got to say, you know, you don't see 62 like this every day. Yeah, you know what? I love it. you know what? I mean, to still be able to, you know, get paid to do something I love, I still got goals ahead of me, and that championship is certainly one of them. So, you know, thanks to everybody that supports us, Pirelli, SRO, and, of course, Kent and Melissa.
You are a championship leader. Any words that you'll say to Justin after this?
Well, you know, Justin, he drove me really hard. I think had he been able to clear me, he would have walked. He had a strong, you know, especially finishing like 16, 17 or whatever it is. He was pretty good there. So it was all about me being precise. I was trying to change what I was doing every lap so he couldn't pick up a rhythm. And but what a great young man, and it'll be fun for me once I retire, which might be a while still, to cheer for him and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, how cool is to hear the strategy there from Johnny O'Connell, changing up what he was doing lap by lap. That is the sign of a veteran. And returning to the top step of the podium is Isaac Sherman. 2 races outside of it. What did you learn during those moments?
Oh, just hard work, honestly. Kurt is an amazing driver. It's been a challenge, honestly, but it feels great to be back on the top step here. And Kurt didn't make it easy for us yesterday in the rain. It was a hard drive. He put his car all in the right spots. We almost had it, but he came out. And luckily today, we were on pole and came out on top, so I'm very happy.
From the rain race yesterday to today, having success back in this Porsche, what were your thoughts be leaving Virginia?
Oh, Virginia's an amazing track. This is one of my new favorite tracks. This was actually my first time here. Very fast, technical, and it's just a lot of fun.
All right, guys, the celebrations will begin down here now.
Right back on the top step is Isaac Sherman. And he said hard work, nice work there, and he's going to continue to extend his championship lead. And as far as the championship in SRO 3, Calvin, it has been a fierce fight so far, and Johnny O'Connell right back up on top of the championship standings by 8 points over Jason Daskalos.
He is really big weekend for him, but I'm depressed. All my life I thought I was a year younger than Johnny, and I realized I'm a year older.
Well, you can still get it done.
He was the youngster back when we raced together.
Well, both you and him can still get it done here. There's a look at your SRO 3 standings, of course. That was it's going to be a continued championship battle, but here is GT4. Isaac Sherman extending his advantage over Kurt Swearingen. Even though Kurt took a stab at him yesterday to take a chunk out, it's still a big gap.
It really is. 6 rounds to go, 63-point gap, lots of work to do. He'd need Sherman to have some bad luck, I feel, to really be a potential championship threat, but you never know. Racing's a funny game.
Well, let's have a look at after a great race 2 here at VIR, at some of the highlights from GT America, powered by AWS, race number 2. All started with a great launch up to the green flag. Johnny O'Connell and Jason Bell side by side down towards turn 1 with Justin Rothberg in behind. And the 2-car race in GT4 between Swearingen and Isaac Sherman from race 1 resumed in race 2. Justin Rothberg took a launch alongside Johnny O'Connell into turn 1 time after time. Kept trying to find an over-under here on him down here in the first corner. It was really where he found the advantage. There's the 007 to Tim Savage, who had an incident at turn 5, caused a full course yellow that bunched the field back up, but Justin Rothberg trying to get back by O'Connell again on a restart, as Jason Daskalos also was within striking distance of the front runners. O'Connell, late in the going there, though, jumped the curb in the final moments as they came down the hill, but since his win at Sonoma, he returned to victory lane here at VIR. Celebrations from the Ski Autosports team, and for Isaac Sherman back on top at Virginia International Raceway as they look to their next round at Road America.